Hi guys, welcome to Krakow. So the selection process of CAT 2019, it is almost coming to an end. We are all gearing up for CAT 2020 now. I hope you have all started your preparation. I think even if you are not, just about now you got to start your preparation. So we have August, September, October, November. We have 4 months, so you can comprehensively prepare for CAT. If you think of delaying it for a bit more, then even before you know it, the next day will be CAT. So don't do that. Right about now, you got to put down what you're doing. You got to sit down and build a schedule for yourself. That is primary. So what would be a brief overall strategy going from here? First and foremost, as I said, you need to prepare a schedule, and in that schedule you need to dedicatedly prepare for about at least about 3 to 4 hours every day. This is very important. You just can't get around this. You can't say I'm a working professional, my work demands a lot of my time, or I'm a student, I need to do my project, I have exams. It just doesn't matter, because you take any of the IEM grads, they would have had the same situation. They would be working professional, or in case if they were freshers, they would have done excellent in their academics. So they knew how to multitask, they knew how to manage their preparation as well as their work or college. You got to do that, because these things they just don't sell in the interview. So you need to prepare for 3 to 4 hours. It's just for your preparation. And when it comes to CAT overall strategy, we always emphasize on marks, because this is the central piece. The reason being, when it comes to CAT, you need to go through the grind, the mental changes or the mental stages that happens. You need to be effectively prepared, because even if you have excellent concept clarity, you can solve all the quant questions. On the day of CAT, you might have a bad day. It happens every year. In order to avoid this, you need to be on an automatic mode on the day of writing the exam. That comes if you take a lot of mocks. You're adapted to all the situation, and you'll just bulldoze all the questions, and you'll just get over it. That comes with a lot of preparation. So we think 30 is just about an ideal number. That's a good amount of marks, and it is practically achievable too. So if you start just about now, we would say in July and August you can take one mock every week, and as you go to September, October, you can intensify it to 2 mocks every week. And in November, based on your availability, you can try to amplify it to 3 mocks every week, or if not, you can stick with 2 mocks. In either case, even if you drop a couple of mocks, you can easily achieve 30 mocks. That's a very good number and practically achievable. And as important as giving mocks is, it is equally important that you analyze each of these mocks, because many times students, they analyze a mock, they write a mock in July and they analyze it in September. This is just futile, and sometimes they don't even analyze it. If you give a mock today and you get one of the RC, the correct option is B, and in you have marked it A. So you analyze it today or tomorrow, and then you realize what was your thought process behind it. Where did you get it wrong? Then you can correct it. Suppose you analyze it 2 months later, you would have marked C. So you will never get to correct your mistake. The important thing about giving marks is knowing where you can correct it. And also, there is a misconception that if you take marks, then you're effectively preparing for CAT. See, there is no disputing that marks are very important, but apart from that, you need to practice, you need to analyze those marks, you need to work on your weak areas. You might have taken CAT last year, but by this time, many of your accumulated knowledge they would have eroded. So, for example, let's say you know all the area formulae, you have it stored in your mind. I'll give you a problem. Okay, let's say there are two sides A and B, and I give you an included angle, and I ask you to find the area. So you know all the formulae. So what will you do? Okay, I know that area can be calculated by Heron's formula, so I need the third side. How will I calculate the third side? I'll use the cosine rule. I'll apply the cosine rule, I'll get the third side, then I'll apply Heron's formula, then I'll get the area. See, this will fetch you the area, but it took you a lot more time. See, you need to know where to apply which formula. This comes with practice. You need to practice. So if you are in touch every day, you'll immediately see this and say, okay, I'll just apply the sine formula for calculating the area, and you're done. And then I will say, okay, I'll not give the included side. I'll rather give you an altitude. I'll give you two sides and I'll give you an altitude. What are you going to do then? Again, if you are in touch, you just visualize it. You just visualize that you just turn this triangle around, then you have these two beautiful right angle triangles. You get two of these sides, and once you get two of these sides, then it's a matter of few seconds. You have the length and you have the height, you get the area. So maths is not just about rote learning. I don't like to in the way preparing maths in a way, in a rudimentary way you just apply the formula. It should be more of visualizing. Math should be deducive. In a way you try to discover something, then it is going to stick with you for a very long time. So you need to try to visualize it. And when it comes to crack, we try to do that. We don't just push all the formulae onto your throat. We have a very systematic approach. Let's say even if you take geometry itself, we don't give all the formulae all at once. We first go through a set of formulae. Let's say you will talk about triangles, and then you'll have a we'll have a classroom video on triangles. You'll go through all the concepts related to it. Then you have a time test. Once the time test is over, we'll build on it. Let's say we'll start with circles once, and then we have a test on it. Once circles is done, we'll go to quadrilaterals, parallelogram. So that your the approach is such that you learn systematically, slowly and gradually, and not just bombard everything at you at once. That is not very efficient. And lastly, guys, do not drop any topics. You still have plenty of time to go through all the fundamentals in couple of weeks, then apply it, practice more, and then just a month before CAT, you can revise, revisit all those topics, give plenty of marks. You have time to do all of that. 4 months is a good amount of time for a comprehensive preparation. However, you might see on many forums and many places that PNC has very little questions, permutations has very little questions, or Venn diagrams has very little question. Don't go for it. See, that would be true. Say you're starting your preparation in October. It's a bit late. However, now you have a plenty of time, so don't drop any topics. Go through your fundamentals and make sure you give a mock every day. And if you feel preparing a schedule is very tedious, you don't know what to which one is more important, how do I prioritize? So for example, if you take in quant itself, if you are able to ace arithmetic and geometry, that would be 98 percentile easily. Because nowadays, last few years, most of the questions are from arithmetic and geometry. These are the low hanging fruits. If you are able to get these and master these first, then you can easily secure 98 percentile. So we have a schedule for all the batches that start. The schedule is created keeping in mind the topics that are more important, such as arithmetic and geometry, and then going to high hanging fruits such as permutations and combinations. These are of much priority. Today we'll be looking at 25 quant questions, and all of these 25 questions have been taken from Daily Target. If you don't know what Daily Target is, this is a place where we upload one RC test, one LRDI test, and 5 quant questions every day. And all of this is for 15 minutes. The intention is that just in a short span of time, whenever you find some time, you prepare for it, and in about 5-10 minutes you analyze it. So that even short durations of time, you are continuously in the CAT mode of preparation. And the good part is all of these tests, they have video solutions, and you can also take it for free. On the day of the test, it is available for free. You can try it, you can check it out. And today we'll be looking at 25 questions from it. Wish you good luck, guys.
In this question, it is given that there are 3 solved solutions A, B and C, and if they are mixed into the ratio 1:2:3, the resultant solution has a strength of 20%. However, if they are mixed in the ratio 3:2:1, the resultant solution has a strength of 30%. Now, a fourth solution is formed mixing only B and C in the ratio 2:7, and we are required to find out the strength of D to that of A. So, let us first understand what is the information that is given. There are 3 solutions A, B and C. Let us assume that their strengths are small a, small b and small c. If they are mixed into the ratio 1:2:3, the resultant solution will have 20% strength. So, if they are mixed in the ratio 1:2:3, the resultant solution will have A plus 2b plus 3c by 1 plus 2 plus 3. This will be the strength based on the ratio and proportion formula that we know. So, this is equal to 20%, or A plus 2b plus 3c is equal to 20% into 6, which is 1.2. So, this is the first equation that is given to us. Similarly, if they are mixed in the ratio 3:2:1, the resultant solution will have a strength of 30%. This would imply that 3a plus 2b plus c is equal to 3 plus 2 plus 1. Again, this is 6, so 30% into 6 is 1.8, or 3a plus 2b plus c is equal to 1.8. This is the second equation that is given to us. Now we are required to find out the strength of solution D. The strength of solution D, it has only B and C. they are mixed in the ratio 2:7. So this will be 2B plus 7C by 9. This is the strength of solution D, and we are required to find out the ratio of the strength of solution D to that of A. So we are required to find out 2B plus 7C divided by 9 whole by A. So we are given two equations in three unknowns, and we are required to find out a ratio. So what we'll do is we'll try to find out the value of C in terms of A, we'll try to find out the value of B in terms of A, and then calculate the value of 2B plus 7C by 9 in terms of A, and then divide it by A to get the answer. So using the equations 1 and 2, you can see that the coefficient of B is the same. So let us subtract the first equation from the second equation. So this will be, if it is 2 minus 1, this would be 2A minus 2C is equal to 0.6, or A minus C is equal to 0.3, or C is equal to A minus 0.3. So we already have C in terms of A. Let us try to find out B in terms of A. So from equations 1 and 2, we will have to eliminate C. So what we will do is, because the coefficient of C in the first equation is 3 and the coefficient of C in the second equation is 1, we will multiply the second equation by 3 and then subtract the first equation from it, so that we can eliminate C. So multiplying the first equation by 3 will be 9A plus 6B plus 3C minus A plus 2B plus 3C. This is equal to 3 into 1.8 is 5.4 minus 1.2. If you simplify this, you are going to get 8A plus 4B is equal to 4.2, or B is equal to 4.2 by 4 is 1.05 minus 2A. So let us calculate 2B plus 7C. So 2B will be 2.1 minus 4A plus 7C will be plus 7A minus 2.1. You can cancel off 2.1 from both sides, and this will be 3A. So 2B plus 7C divided by 9 will be 3A by 9, which is equal to A by 3. So we are required to find out the ratio of 2B plus 7C by 9 by A. So that will be A by 3 by A. So that is 1:3. So in this case, the required ratio is 1:3.
The secret to crack CAT is taking a lot of marks. We at Krakow give all the previous year's CAT, XAT and IFT papers in the actual exam format. Also, if you just Google Krakow free CAT mark, you can find 3 free CAT marks in the latest exam pattern. You can take them and get detailed analysis.
In this question, there are a box of sweets. They have to be distributed among 3 prisoners. The prisoners are in cells 4, 5 and 6, and the number of sweets that each one of them takes is in the ratio of their cell numbers. Initially, prisoner number 6 will come, he'll take his sweets. Then prisoner number 5 will come, he'll take his sweets. And then finally prisoner number 4 will come and he'll take his sweets. Now the key thing to remember is they don't know the order in which they are entering the rooms, as in they make a mistake in understanding whether somebody has come earlier or not. So initially prisoner from cell number 6 will come, but he thinks that prisoner in cell number 4 has already come and taken his sweets. So of all the sweets, prisoner number 6 will take 6 by 6 plus 5. Because of the remaining sweets, he knows that prisoner number 4 has taken his sweets. So the fraction of sweets that prisoner number 6 will take is 6 by 6 plus 5, which is 6 by 11. So after prisoner number 6 comes and takes his sweets, the fraction of sweets remaining are 5 by 11. This is when prisoner from cell number 5 will enter. So when he first enters, there are 5 by 11 fraction of sweets remaining. And he thinks that prisoner number 5 thinks he is the first one to enter the room. So if he is the first one to enter the room, the fraction of sweets that he should take are 5 by 6 plus 5 plus 4. Because he will take sweets only in the fraction that he is supposed to take. That is 5 by 15 or 1 by 3. So prisoner number 5 of the 5 by 11 sweets that are remaining, he is going to take 5 by 33 of the total number of sweets. So the number of sweets which are remaining are which is when prisoner number 4 will enter, is 5 by 11 into 2 by 3. So when prisoner in cell number 4 enters, the fraction of sweets remaining are 5 by 11 into 2 by 3, which is 10 by 33. Now prisoner in cell number 4 again thinks he is the first one to enter the room. So when he sees the box, he will only take the sweets in the fraction that he is supposed to take. So the fraction that he is supposed to take is 4 by 4 plus 5 plus 6, which is 4 by 15. So of 10 by 33 of the total sweets that are remaining, he will only take 10 by 33 into 4 by 15, and he will leave the remaining sweets on the table. So the fraction of sweets that are remaining on the table after prisoner number 4 goes is 10 by 33, which is the initial fraction, into 11 by 15, because remember that he has taken 4 by 15 of the sweets and left. So this is the answer that we are required to find out. If we simplify this, we can cancel 11 and 33, so it will be 3, and 10 and 5, so it will 10 and 15 is 2 by 3, so it will be 2 by 9. In this question, it is given that the sum of two non-coprime numbers A and B and their HCF gives 77. So let the two numbers be, let the HCF be equal to K, and the two numbers will be A is equal to PK and B is equal to QK. It is given that they are non-coprime, so HCF is greater than 1, that is K is greater than 1. Also because K is their HCF and we are describing them as PK and QK, P comma K will be coprime. That is the definition of HCF. Because if P and Q have a common factor, then the HCF will not be K, it will actually be equal to K into the common factor. So we are assuming that HCF is K, the numbers are PK and QK. Now the given equation is PK plus QK plus K is equal to 77. Or this is K into P plus Q plus 1 is equal to 77. Now if you look at the factors of 77, there are only 4 factors. It is 1, 7, 11 and 77. Clearly K cannot be 77, because if K is equal to 77, P and Q will be 0, because P plus Q plus 1 will equal 1. So it is not 77. K we know is greater than 1, so K is not equal to 1. So there are two cases, that is the HCF K will either be equal to 7 or it will be equal to 11. So we will calculate the number of possibilities in both the cases. Case 1 is K is equal to 7 and case 2 is K is equal to 11. If K is equal to 7, P plus Q plus 1 is equal to 11 or P plus Q is equal to 10. Now P and Q are also coprime. So if you look at the number of possibilities, P can be 1 and Q can be 9. If P is 2 and Q is 8, they would not be coprime because 2 is a factor of 8. So 2 comma 8 is not possible. 3 comma 7 is possible because 3 and 7 are coprime. But 4 and 6 again are not possible because they share a common factor of 2. 5 and 5 is also not possible because their common factor 5 divides both of them. And again the reverse of them, that is 7 comma 3 and 9 comma 1 are also possible. So P and Q can take any of these 4 values. Similarly, in the case where K is equal to 11, P plus Q plus 1 will equal 7 or P plus Q will equal 6. If you tabulate again the different values of P and Q that are possible, 1 comma 5 is possible, 2 comma 4 is not possible because 2 is a common factor, and 3 comma 3 is also not possible because of the shared common factor 3, and the only other remaining one is 5 comma 1. So again P comma Q can take these values. In this case the two numbers will be PK and QK. So for example in this case it will be 7 comma 63, 21 comma 49, 49 comma 21, 63 comma 7. We have just multiplied each of these numbers by the HCF. In this case the HCF is equal to 7. Similarly in this case the HCF is 11, so the numbers will be 11 comma 55 and 55 comma 11. So the total number of possibilities is 6. In this question we are given that x is equal to log 6 to the base 24 and y is equal to log 54 to the base 12. We are required to find out the value of x in terms of y or the value of y in terms of x. So to go ahead, let us first see that all the terms which are given, that is 6, 24, 54 and 12, are product of powers of 2 and 3. That is, all the prime factors of all of these four numbers are either 2 or 3. So let us just assume that log of 2 is equal to a and log of 3 is equal to b. We will then express x and y as terms of a and b, and then we will try to find out a relationship between x and y themselves. So x is equal to log of 6 by log of 24, because you can write log 6 to the base 24 as log 6 by log 24. Log 6 is equal to log 2 plus log 3. So this will be a plus b by 24 is 3 into 2 cube. Therefore this will become 3a plus b. Similarly, y will become log 54 by log 12. 54 is equal to 3 cube 27 into 2. So this will become 3b plus a by 12 is 2 square into 3. So this will be 2a plus b. Now to again simplify further, let us assume that a by b is equal to p, because we want to decrease the number of terms as much as possible. Therefore x will become p plus 1 by 3p plus 1 and y will become 3 plus p by 2p plus 1. Now we will express x in terms of p, that is we will find something like p is equal to in terms of x. We will also find out p is equal to something in terms of y and then equate the two and find a relation between x and y. That is our strategy. So if we are doing this, we will find that 3px plus x is equal to p plus 1, or p is equal to 1 minus x by 3x minus 1. Similarly, using the second equation, we get 2py plus y is equal to 3 plus p, or p is equal to 3 minus y by 2y minus 1. Now these two terms should be equal because both of them equal y. Therefore 1 minus x by 3x minus 1 is equal to 3 minus y by 2y minus 1. If we cross multiply, we will get 2y minus 2xy plus x minus 1 is equal to 9x minus 3xy minus 3, 9x minus 3xy minus 3 plus y. If you cancel the terms that are not needed, this implies that y plus xy plus x, y plus xy plus 2 is equal to 8x, or x is equal to y plus 2 by 8 minus y. This is option D. Now this is quite simple. You have to first understand that all the terms that are given are just multiples of 2 and 3. There are no other prime factors. So let us assume that log 2 is equal to a and log 3 is equal to b. Then find out the value of p in terms of both x and y, and then equate the two. Once you simplify, you will get the answer. It just involves calculations and you shouldn't make any mistake in them. In this question, we have been given that there is an infinite geometric progression and the sum of the infinite geometric progression is equal to 10. We are required to find out the sum of all the possible integral values of the first term. So before we get started, let us quickly revise infinite geometric progressions. So for an infinite geometric progression, if the first term is a and the common difference is r, the sum of the infinite geometric progression is a by 1 minus r. This is the sum. But to get to this, we should know that the infinite geometric progression will have a finite sum only if modulus of r is less than 1. That is, if the absolute value of the terms are decreasing as the geometric progression increases. Only then will the sum of the geometric progression converge at a finite sum. Otherwise, it will keep getting divergent. So this is the brief overview. So if there is a geometric progression whose common ratio is less than 1, the modulus of it, then the sum of the geometric progression is a by 1 minus r, where a is the first term. Now if we apply the same one over here, let the first term of the geometric progression be equal to a, and let the common ratio be r. So we are given that the sum of the infinite geometric progression is equal to 10, or a is equal to 10 into 1 minus r. We will try to figure out a boundary for a, because we know that r is bounded between minus 1 and plus 1. So minus 1 is less than r is less than 1. This we know because it has been given that the infinite geometric progression has a finite sum. So this would mean that a by 10 is equal to 1 minus r, or r is equal to 1 minus a by 10. This is given to us. Now we know that this lies between minus 1 and plus 1. Therefore, minus 1 is less than 1 minus a by 10 is less than 1, or minus 2 is less than minus a by 10 is less than 0, or minus 20 is less than minus a is less than 0, or 0 is less than a is less than 20. Now we know that the boundary of a lies between 0 and 20. So we are required to find out the possible integral values for the sum of the possible integral values will actually be equal to, the required sum is 1 plus 2 plus dot 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 plus 19. This will come to 19 into 20 by 2, which is equal to 190. You should quickly realize that for any possible value of a, we will be able to find an r such that the geometric progression sum equals 10. For example, if you are looking at a is equal to 6, we know that r will be equal to 1 minus 6 by 10, which is equal to 2 by 5. So the geometric progression whose first term is 6 and common ratio is 2 by 5 will have a sum of 10. This is the same for all the numbers between 1 to 19. So in this case, the sum is 190. In this question, it is given that the cost price of two scooters is in the ratio 3:4. So the cost price of the first scooter, let us assume, is equal to 3k, and the cost price of the second scooter is equal to 4k. This is the cost price. Now Ajay made 1 lakh and 2 lakh profit from selling each one of them. So the selling price of the first scooter will be 3k plus 1, and the selling price of the second scooter will be 4k plus 2. This is the selling prices. Now which of the following cannot be the ratio of their selling price? So if you want to find out the ratio of the selling price, the ratio of the selling price is 3k plus 1 by 4k plus 2. Now here we don't know the value of k, we just know that k is greater than 0. We know that 3k and 4k are cost prices of scooters, so they cannot be negative. Now we are given 4 options and we have to figure out which of the 4 options cannot be the ratio of their selling price. So let us start with the first one. Let us see if 3k plus 1 by 4k plus 2 can equal 41 by 77. We'll solve this to get the value of k, and we will see if that is a actual value of k, that is a permissible value for k. You can just cross multiply. 77 into 3 is 231k plus 77 is equal to 41 into 4 is 164k plus 82. So if you bring both the terms with k to the same side, it will be 67k will equal 5, or k is equal to 5 by 67. Now this is a number which is greater than 0. So this is a permissible value for the ratio. Hence option A cannot be the answer. We can do the same for even option B. If you are assuming that 3k plus 1 by 4k plus 2 is equal to 53 by 81, we can again cross multiply and we are going to get 243k plus 81 is equal to 53 into 4 is 212k plus 106, or 31k is equal to 25. So k will equal 25 by 31. This is also a positive number, so this is also a permissible value for the ratio. Hence it is not the answer. We are looking for a value which is non-permissible. Let us look at the third one. So 3k plus 1 by 4k plus 2 is equal to 37 by 49. We'll again cross multiply. 49 into 3 is 147k plus 49 is equal to 37 into 4 is 148k plus 74, or k is equal to minus 25. Here you can observe that because k is the cost price of the bikes, it has to be a positive number. So this is not a permissible ratio, hence this is the correct answer. Now this is one way of solving it. There is another shortcut which we can use to solve it. If you observe the ratio, it is 3k plus 1 by 4k plus 2. Initially the ratio of the cost prices are 3k and 4k, which is 3 by 4. Now to the numerator you have added 1 and to the denominator you have added 2. That is, you have basically added 1 by 2, which is 0.5, which is less than 3 by 4. So 3k plus 1 plus 4 by 4k plus 2 is less than 0.75. Because the number that you added 1 by 2 is less than 3 by 4, which is the original ratio. Hence the cumulative ratio will become less than 0.75. Another way to look at it is 3k plus 1.5 by 4k plus 2. This is exactly equal to 0.75. Because you can take 2k plus 1 common, so this will become 3 by 4. So if the numerator is 3k plus 1 instead of 3k plus 1.5, the given equation, that is 3k plus 1, is less than 3k plus 1.5. So 3k plus 1 by 4k plus 2 will be less than 3k plus 1.5 divided by 4k plus 2. But this is equal to 0.75. So the given ratio of the selling prices is less than 0.75. Now we can easily calculate the ratios, the given 4 ratios. You will have your calculator in the examination. We can easily calculate them quite fast. So for example, 41 divided by 77, this is equal to 0.53. The second one is 53 divided by 81. This is 0.65. The fourth option is 61 divided by 97. This is equal to 0.62. And 37 divided by 49 will equal 0.755. If you look at the 4 options, the first option, the second option and the fourth option, all of them are less than 0.75 and all of them will be permissible values. The only ratio which is greater than 0.75 is option C. Hence this is non-permissible, and so this is the correct answer, which is option C. In this question we are given 3 terms A, B and C, and we are told that their product is equal to 60. We are required to find out the number of integral solutions of A into B into C is equal to 60. Notice that we are told that this is an integral solution, not a natural number solution. So A, B and C can even be negative. If you look at it, we'll first do the prime factorization of 60. 60 is equal to 2 square, that is 4 into 3 into 5. So let us first calculate the number of natural number solutions for A into B into C is equal to 60 and then extend it to integral solutions. If we assume that A, B and C are natural numbers, then let us assume that A is equal to 2 to the power x1 into 3 to the power y1 into 5 to the power z1. Similarly, we will assume that B is equal to 2 to the power x2 into 3 to the power y2 into 5 to the power z2. Similarly, C will equal 2 to the power x3 into 3 to the power y3 into 5 to the power z3. Now, the product of all of them will equal 60, which is equal to 2 square into 3 into 5. So, we can conclude that x1 plus x2 plus x3 will equal 2, which is the power of 2 in 60. y1 plus y2 plus y3 is equal to 1, which is the power of 3 in 60. This is 1. And z1 plus z2 plus z3 is also equal to 1, which is the power of 5 in 60. Now we need to find out the number of non-negative integral solutions for each of the 3 terms in this equation. Again, to give a brief recap, if there are say if there are r terms, a plus b plus c plus dot dot dot, there are say r terms here, and their sum will equal say n. The number of non-negative integral solutions, that is, all of them can be natural numbers or whole numbers. They can't be negative, but they have to be integers. The number of ways in which we can do that is n plus r minus 1 c r minus 1. we'll apply the same formula in each of them. In the first case, n is equal to 2 and r is 3 because there are 3 terms here. So the number of ways in which we can distribute x1, x2 and x3 is 2 plus 3 minus 1 c 3 minus 1. So this will be 4c2. Similarly, y1 plus y2 plus y3 is equal to 1. In this case, n is equal to 1 and r is equal to 3. So the number of ways in which we can do this is 1 plus 3 minus 1 c 3 minus 1. So this will be 3c2. Similarly, even in the third case, it will be 3c2. So the total number of ways in which we can find a, b and c will be 4c2 is 6, 3c2 is 3 and another 3c2 is 3. So the number will be 6 into 3 into 3, which is 54. But remember that this is only the natural number solution. We are required to find out even the integral solutions. Now if you look at a, b and c, where a, b and c are natural numbers, if their product will equal 60, the product of minus a, minus b and c will also equal 60, because minus and minus cancels and the product will be abc, which is equal to 60. Similarly, the product of minus a, b and minus c will also be 60, and the product of a minus b and minus c will also be 60. So the total number of ways in which we can do it for integral solutions will be 54 here, 54 here, 54 here and 54 here. So the total will be 216. This is the answer. In this question, we are told that the average of 33 consecutive 3-digit even numbers increases by 6 if the digits of the 30th number in the series are reversed. So let us assume we are given 33 consecutive even numbers. So let us assume that the first number is p, the second number is p plus 2, the third number is p plus 4 and so on. The 30th number will be p plus 58, that is p plus 29 into 2. The 31st number will be p plus 60. The 32nd number is p plus 62 and the 33rd number will be p plus 64. These are the 33 consecutive 3-digit even numbers. Now we are told that the average increases by 6 if the 30th number, that is p plus 58, the digits of this are interchanged. So if you assume that initially the 3-digit number is ABC, if ABC becomes CBA, that is, if the digits are reversed, then the average of this 33 numbers increases by 6. Now if the average increases by 6, the sum of the 33 numbers increases by 33 into 6. 33 into 6 is 198. Remember that in these 33 numbers, the 32 numbers which are other numbers other than the 30th number are the same. So the sum has increased by 198 only because the digits of the 30th number, that is p plus 58, have been interchanged. Therefore, the increase in the 30th number when the digits are interchanged is 198. Let us assume that initially it was ABC. So if it is ABC, the value of the number, the value of the 3-digit number initially will be 100 into A plus 10 into B plus C. This is basically what we are saying is, if the number is 234, which is a random number, we are saying the value of this number is 100 into 2 plus 10 into 3 plus 4. This is the value. This is 200 plus 30 plus 4, which is 234. So initially, if you are assuming that the 3 digits are A, B, C, the value of the number is 100A plus 10B plus C. Now the value of this number after the digits are interchanged will become 100 into C plus 10 into B plus A. Now the difference between these two numbers, we are already told, is equal to 198. This is the increase in the value of the 30th number. So if you subtract the first number from the second number, you are going to get 99C minus 99A. This is equal to 198. As you know, 198 is 99 into 2. Therefore, C minus A is equal to 2. So what we know is that in the 30th number, the hundredths digit is 2 less than the units digit. We are also told one more thing. If the digits of the 30th term are either strictly increasing or strictly decreasing, and the hundredths digit of all the numbers are the same, what is the sum of the digits of the third term in the series? So before we figure out what the third term in the series is, Let us try to first figure out what is the 30th term in the series. In this case, we know that the units, if the hundredths digit is A, the tens digit is greater than the hundredths digit. The tens digit is greater than the units digit. We know that because the units digit, that is C, is equal to A plus 2. That we have already figured out, that C is equal to A plus 2. And as the numbers are as the digits of the 30th term are in an increasing order or in a decreasing order, clearly they are not in a decreasing order because A is less than A plus 2. So the middle term has to equal A plus 1. So the three terms of the 30th, the three digits of the 30th term are A plus 1 and A plus 2 for some natural number A. If we can figure out what is A, then we are done. We have solved that the 30th term is equal to this number. Then we can figure out what is the third term and we can find out the sum of the digits of the third term. What we have figured out till now is that the digits of the 30th term are of the form A plus 1 and A plus 2. But there is another thing that we should take care of. We know that the 30th term is of the form P plus 58. We also know that all the numbers from P to P plus 64 have the same hundredths digit. That is, they are either of the form 100 and the hundredths digit is the same. So we know that when the number is P plus 58, the tens place, that is the middle number, has to be at least 60. Why should it be at least 60? Because if the middle term is say something like 3, which is something of 234, again coming back to our initial example, this has to be of the form P plus 58. So if you are subtracting 58 from the 30th term, the hundredths digit should not change. For the hundredths digit to not change, the tens digit should be greater than 5. If it is less than 5, then the 100th term of P and the 100th term of P plus 58 will be different. So when you know that the tens term, that is A plus 1, has to be at least 6, there are only very few cases. That is, the hundredths term can be 6, so the units term will be 7 and the hundredths term will be 5. So it can be either 567 or it can be 678 or it can be 789. These are the only three numbers possible because P plus 58 and P, both of them should have the same hundredths digit. Now of these three numbers, we are also told that all these numbers are even numbers. So the 30th term also has to be an even number. In this case, we can cancel out 567, which is an odd number, and we can cancel out 789, which is also an odd number. So we can conclusively say that the 30th term has to be 678. If the 30th term, that is P plus 58, is equal to 678, the first term, which is equal to P, will equal 678 minus 58. This is equal to 620. Therefore, the second term will be 622, the second term, and the third term of the series will be 624. If the third term is 624, the sum of the digits of the third term are 6 plus 2 plus 4, which is equal to 12. So the answer in this case is 12. In this question, it is given that there is a class which consists of 20 boys and 30 girls. So there are boys and there are girls. There are 20 boys and 30 girls. In the mid-semester examination, the average score of the girls was 5 higher than the average score of the boys. So let us assume that in the mid-semester, the average score of the boys is A. Therefore, the average score of the girls is A plus 5. In the final exam, however, the average score of the girl dropped by 3. So in the final examination, the average score of the girls is A plus 2, as it has come down by 3. While the average score of the entire class, that is boys and girls together, has increased by 2. Of total, it has increased by 2. Then the increase in the average score of the boys is. So we need to find out the average score of the boys in the final examination. So first, let us find out the average score of the class in the midterms. Then we will figure out average score of the entire class in the final exam and then figure it out. So the total score of the entire class in midterms is equal to 20 into A, which is the total of the boys, plus 30 into A plus 5. This is the total of the girls. This is equal to 50A plus 150. Therefore, the average score in midterms is total score by the total number of students, which is 50. So this is equal to 50A plus 150 by 50, which is equal to A plus 3. But we are told that in the final examination the average score has increased by 2. So the average score in finals is equal to A plus 5, as the score has increased by 2 from midterms. Therefore, the total score in finals is equal to 50 into the average score, which is A plus 5. So this is equal to 50A plus 250. This is the total score of the boys plus the total score of the girls, but we know the total score of the girls. Total score of girls is equal to 30 into A plus 2. So this is equal to 30A plus 60. Therefore, the total score of the boys is just subtracting the total score of the girls from the total score of the entire class. This is equal to 20A plus 190. Therefore, to find out the average, we just need to divide this by 20. So the average score of the boys will be A plus 190 by 20, that is 9.5. So the average score of the boys went up by 9.5.
The secret to crack CAT is taking a lot of mocks. We at Krakow give all the previous year's CAT, XAT and IFT papers in the actual exam format. Also, if you just Google Krakow free CAT mock, you can find 3 free CAT mocks in the latest exam pattern. You can take them and get detailed analysis.
In this question, it is given that there is a water tank. It has two types of inlet pipes, type A and type B. When all the inlet pipes of type A are open, they bring water at the same rate. Same is the case for all the inlet pipes of type B. Now an empty tank can be filled in 30 minutes if 10 inlets of type A and 45 inlets of type B are open. So it takes 30 minutes if there are 10 inlet pipes of type A and 45 inlet pipes of type B are there. Similarly, it takes 1 hour, that is 60 minutes, when there are 8 inlets of type A and 18 inlets of type B are open. We are required to find out in how many minutes the empty tank will get completely filled if 7 inlets of type A and 27 inlets of type B are open. So this is a very standard question which is often asked in time, speed and distance. These kind of questions are often asked. So what we'll do is we'll assume that the tank has a volume of say 60 liters. Now why are we implying this to be 60 liters? Because we want it to be a multiple of 30 and 60. So the LCM of 30 and 60 is 60 liters. So if 10 inlets of type A and 45 inlets of type B are used, the 60 liter tank is filled in 30 minutes. So in 1 minute, 2 liters of water is filled. Similarly, if there are 8 inlets of type A and 18 inlets of type B, the 60 liter tank is filled in 60 minutes. So in 1 minute, 1 liter is filled. What we are assuming over here is that inlets of type A fill A liters per minute and inlets of type B fill B liters per minute. So if there are 10 inlets of type A and 45 inlets of type B, they fill 2 liters in 1 minute. Similarly, 8 inlets of type A and 18 inlets of type B fill 1 liter per minute. Using these two equations, solving them, we'll find out the value of A and B. Then we'll calculate the value of 7A plus 27B, and then we'll use it to solve the answer. So if you're looking at the first equation and the second equation, there are many ways in which you can solve it. We will multiply the first equation by 2 and the second equation by 5. Then we can eliminate B. So when you multiply the first equation by 2, you are going to get 20A plus 90B is equal to 4. And when you multiply the second equation by 5, you get 40A plus 90B is equal to 5. If you subtract the first one from the second one, you are going to get 20A is equal to 1 or A is equal to 1 by 20. So inlets of type A fill 1 by 20 liters per minute. Using any one of the two equations, you can solve for B also. So if you are using the first equation, 10A is 10 into 1 by 20 plus 45B is equal to 2, or 45B is equal to 2 minus half, that is 3 by 2, or B is equal to 1 by 30. So inlets of type B fill 1 by 30 liters per minute. We have 7 inlets of type A and 27 inlets of type B. So how many liters will they fill in 1 minute? It will be 7 into 1 by 20 plus 27 into 1 by 30. This will be 7 by 20 plus 9 by 10, which is equal to by 20, 7 plus 18 is 25. This is equal to 5 by 4 liters per minute. So 27 inlets of type A and 7 inlets of type A and 27 inlets of type B fill 5 by 4 liters every minute. Now the volume of the tank we have assumed to be 60 liters. So the total amount of time it will take is 60 divided by 5 by 4. This is equal to 60 into 4 by 5. This is 12 into 4. This is equal to 48 minutes. So the answer in this case is 48 minutes. So in this question it has been given that there are two friends, John and Andrew. Both of them had a certain number of chocolates with each of them. And initially John gives 5/8 of the chocolates that he has to Andrew, and Andrew, after taking these chocolates, gives 3/8 of the chocolates back to John. It has been noticed that after every such transfer cycle, the number of chocolates which each of them remains constant. It has also been given that initially Andrew has 8 chocolates more than John, so we have to calculate what is the total number of chocolates that both of them had together. So let the number of chocolates with each of them initially be J. This is for John, and Andrew has 8 more chocolates than John. So initially both of them had J and J plus 8. We should what we should find at the end is 2J plus 8 is what we need to find, which is the sum of the chocolates. After John gives 5/8 of its chocolates, he will have 3 by 8 J, and Andrew will have J plus 5, so that will be 13J by 8 plus 8. This is after John gives his chocolates to Andrew, and after Andrew gives 3/8 of these chocolates back to John, John will have 3 by 8 J plus 3 by 8 into 13 by 8 J plus 3. This is 3 by 8 into 8. This will be 39 J by 64 plus 3, and this is 3 by 8 J. This will be by 64, 63 J plus 3. Similarly with him it will be 5/8, 5 by 8 into 13 by 8 J plus 8. This will be 65 J by 64 plus 5. Now as the number of chocolates remain constant after this cycle, these two numbers should be the same, and if they are actually the same, even these two will be the same. So you can equate any one of the two to find the value of J. If we equate the first one, J is equal to 63 by 64 J plus 3, or J by 64 is equal to 3, or J is equal to 192. Now what we should find is 2J plus 8, that is 2 into 164 plus 8, which is 2 into 192 plus 2 into 192 plus 8. This is equal to 384 plus 8, which is equal to 392. So this is the final answer. In this question we are given a fraction in terms of x cube. We are told that the domain of this fraction being greater than 2 is x comma y, and we are required to find out the value of modulus of x plus y. So in this question, we are first required to find out the domain of this function, and then using that we'll get the values of x and y, and from that calculating modulus of x and y is x plus y is quite straightforward. Now the key to answering this question is to first realizing that both the fractions, that is the numerator and the denominator, can be easily factorized. If you look at the fraction, that is x cube plus 3x square minus 10x minus 24 by x cube plus 4x square minus 11x minus 30. One of the key things that you should see is the constant term, that is minus 24 and minus 30, have a lot of factors. So, and all the terms are quite simple. They are not very random terms. Random terms, by random terms I mean something like say 123 or 140, where the terms which are coefficients of x square and x are very high and the constant is low. In those cases, it is probably difficult to factorize, or probably there will not be any factors. But as long as the coefficient of x square and the coefficient of x are small and the constant term has a lot of factors, it should be possible, or there is a good chance that both the numerator and the denominator fall in this category, have good factors. Now if you look at the constant term, it is 24. So we have to find 3 terms or 3 numbers such that the product of the 3 terms is 24. In the denominator, we have to find 3 terms such that their product is equal to 30. So for example, if you are looking at the 3 factors as x plus a into x plus b into x plus c, if we can find 3 factors a, b and c such that a into b into c is equal to 24, minus 24 in this case, and in the denominator we'll have 3 factors a1 into b1 into c1 is equal to 30. What I mean is, because these are numbers with a lot of factors, the probability that we will be able to find this is quite high. Anyway, coming back to the question, in this case if we can find one factor, that is one of a, b or c, finding the others is quite easy. So let us first in the case of the numerator, let us first input 1, that is x minus 1 as a factor. We'll just substitute 1 in case of all of x and see if that equals 0. In this case, x cube will be 1 plus 3x square will be 1 minus 10x will be minus 10 minus 24. This is not equal to 0. Similarly, if you input minus 1, it will be x cube will be minus 1 plus 3x square will be plus 3 minus 10x will be plus 10 and minus 24. Even this is not equal to 0. Then we will input 2. In this case, x cube will be 8 plus 3x square will be plus 12 minus 10x will be minus 20 and minus 24. This is also not equal to 0. But once you input minus 2, you could see that x cube will become minus 8 plus 3x square will be plus 12 minus 10x will be plus 20 and minus 24 will be minus 24. This equals 0. So x minus 2 is a fact, x plus 2 is a factor of the numerator. It is x plus 2 because minus 2 is a factor. Therefore, x minus of minus 2 will be a factor of the numerator, and x minus of minus 2 will be equal to x plus 2. Now there are these finding at least one factor in a cubic equation will become easier with practice. But as I was saying earlier, you have to look at the constant term and try to find numbers which are factors of this constant term, and using that you will be able to find the 3 factors of the cubic equation. Similarly, if you substitute minus 2 in the denominator, it will become x cube will be minus 8 plus 4x square will be plus 16 minus 11x will be plus 22 minus 30. This is also equal to 0. So x minus of minus 2, which is x plus 2, is also a factor of the denominator. So if you are just looking at the numerator and the denominator, it will be x cube plus 2x square plus x square plus 2x minus 12x minus 24. This is the value of the numerator. As you can see, we have distributed all of them as x plus 2 or as multiples of x plus 2. So we have x cube plus 2x square, and then there is one x square which is remaining in 3x square. So we put it as x square. Now because we want to make this also as x plus 2, we have added plus 2x and then we have subtracted minus 2x to compensate, and because we already have minus 10x here, it will become minus 12x, and minus 24 is the constant term that we already had. Similarly, the denominator will be x cube. We'll again have to immediately add 2x square. Now out of 4x square, we have 2x square which we have already added. So we'll put plus 2x square. Because we want to make this a multiple of x plus 2, we'll immediately add plus 4x. Now if you see the coefficient of x, it is minus 11x. But here we have added plus 4x. So we'll immediately subtract minus 15x to make the sum equal to minus 11x. And the constant term is minus 30. This is basically the easiest way in which we can factorize. Now we know that x plus 2 is a multiple of both the numerator and the denominator. Now we will find if we divide x cube plus 2x square by x plus 2, we are going to get x square, plus if we divide x square plus 2x by x plus 2, we are going to get x, and if we divide minus 12x minus 24 by x plus 2, we are going to get minus 12. Similarly, in the denominator, x cube plus 2x square when divided by x plus 2 is x square, 2x square plus 4x when divided by x plus 2 is plus 2x, and minus 15x minus 30 when divided by x plus 2 is minus 15. This is basically the value of the numerator and the denominator. Now we can easily factorize x is both the numerator and the denominator. This will equal x plus 2 into x square plus x minus 12 will equal x plus 4 into x minus 3, and the denominator will be x plus 2 into x plus 5 into x minus 3. This we are told is greater than 2. Now we can cancel the terms which are common between the numerator and the denominator, but we'll have to remember that the denominator shouldn't be equal to 0. So x cannot equal minus 2 or minus 5 or 3. These are the three numbers x shouldn't equal, because then the fraction will not be defined. Now this is just x plus 4 by x plus 5 is greater than 2. We can simplify this by bringing 2 to the left of the inequality sign. So this becomes x plus 4 minus 2x minus 10 by x plus 5 is greater than 0. We'll continue here. This is x minus 6 by x plus 5. So if we multiply both the left hand side and the right hand side by minus 1, it will become x plus 6 by x plus 5. Now because we multiplied both of them with minus 1, the sign will get interchanged. So this will be less than 0. Now this will imply that x plus 5 into x plus 6 is less than 0. Remember that if we multiplied the numerator and denominator with x plus 5 whole square, this is a positive number, then we can get rid of the denominator and this will transform into x plus 5 into x plus 6 is less than 0. So the domain of this inequality is basically minus 5 to minus 6. Now notice that it is not equal to any of them. We are not saying x should equal minus 5, that will not hold, but x should lie between minus 5 and minus 6, which is the domain of the inequality. So in this case, as this is equal to x comma y, we can calculate that x is equal to minus 5 and y is equal to minus 6. This is a different x, so don't get confused. Now based on this, we can easily calculate that the modulus of x plus y will equal modulus of minus 11, which is equal to 11. This is the answer. The answer in this case is 11. In this question, we are told that x is a real number such that log of 5 to the base 3 is equal to log of x plus 2 to the base 5, and we are required to find out an interval within which x will lie. So let us first understand how log 5 to the base 3, what is the actual value of this. We know that log 5 to the base 3 will be greater than log of 3 to the base 3. Why is this greater than log 3 to the base 3? Because 5 is greater than 3. And what is the value of log 3 to the base 3? This is equal to 1. We also know that log of 5 to the base 3 is less than log of 9 to the base 3. Why is this the case? Because 5 is less than 9. And what is the value of log 9 to the base 3? It is equal to 2. So we know that the left hand side, that is log 5 to the base 3, lies between 1 and 2. Therefore, log of x plus 2 to the base 5 also lies between 1 and 2. So now let us we'll eliminate the base. So we know that x plus 2 will therefore lie between 5 to the power 1 and 5 to the power 2, or x plus 2 has to lie between 5 and 25. Now subtracting 2 from all the sides, we know that 3 has to be less than x, which is less than 23. Now this is something that we know for sure, and there is only one option which actually satisfies it, which is option D. So the correct answer is option D. In this question we are told that Jyoti and Prakash are running in the same direction along a circular track. The length of the track is 115 meters and their speeds are 10 meter per second and 2 meter per second. So let us assume that this is the circular track and you have two people who are running at 10 meter per second and 2 meter per second. Now whenever there are two people who are running along a circular track, suppose their speeds are x meter per second and y meter per second. Then the number of unique points that they meet, if they are going in the same direction, will be x minus y. We are assuming that x is greater than y and x and y are co-prime. That is, they don't have any common factors. In that case, the number of points that they meet in is x minus y. And if they are running in opposite directions along a circular track, then the number of points that they meet in will be x plus y. In this case, they are running at 10 meter per second and 2 meter per second. 10 and 2 are not co-prime. 10 and 2 are, they have a common factor which is 2. So if you reduce both of them, the ratio of their speeds will be 5:1. Therefore, the number of points that they meet in will be 5 minus 1, which is 4. So they meet at 4 unique points along the circle. So the 4 points you can easily identify will be the first point, the one which is exactly opposite it, and both the quarter points. These are the 4 points at which Jyoti and Prakash will meet while they are running in the same direction along a circular track if their speeds are in the ratio 5:1. Now we are asked to find out how many times are they at the maximum possible distance from each other before they meet for the third time at the starting point. So we have to identify how many times they are diametrically opposite each other before they meet for the third time at the starting point. So let us try to identify how many times they actually meet before they meet for the third time at the starting point. So the first time that both of them will meet will be over here, because the ratio of their speeds is 5:1. By the time the slower person moves 1/4 of the circle, the faster person will move 5/4 of the circle. So he'll complete one entire circle and then again end up over here. So the first time that they meet will be at you can say 3 o'clock. The second time will be at 6 o'clock. The third time will be at 9 o'clock, and the fourth time will be the first time that they meet at the starting point. That is at the fourth meeting. Let me clear off the middle circle so that it is clearer. Similarly, the fifth time that they meet will be at 3 o'clock, the sixth time would be at 6 o'clock, the seventh time would be at 9 o'clock, and the eighth time will be at the starting point. This is the second time that they are meeting at the starting point, which is their eighth meeting overall. The ninth time will be again at 3 o'clock, the 10th time will be at 6 o'clock, the 11th time will be at 9 o'clock, and finally they meet for the third time at the starting point when they meet for the 12th time overall. So now we have to figure out, before they meet for the 12th time overall, how many times are they diametrically opposite each other. So if you look at it from the starting point when they just started and before they meet for the first time, they are diametrically opposite exactly once. So by the time the slower person comes somewhere over here, the faster person finishes more than half and they are diametrically opposite each other. By the time the slower person completes 1/4 of his square, the faster person again finishes more than diametrically opposite, and he also meets the slower person at 3 o'clock. So by the time after they have started and before they have met for the first time, they are diametrically opposite once. Similarly, between the first time and second time, that is after the slower person crosses 3 o'clock, somewhere over here, by the time he reaches somewhere close to the middle point between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock, the faster person will again go and meet him diametrically oppositely somewhere over here. And by the time the slower person goes from 3 to 6, the faster person again goes all the way and comes and meets him at 6 o'clock. So between, after they met for the first time and before they go for the second time, they're again diametrically opposite once. So the total number of times they're diametrically opposite is 2. This is the case always. Again, between the 11th time and the 12th time, the 11th time will be over here and the 12th time will be over here. Both of them are at the 11th point when they start off after meeting for the 11th time. But by the time the slower person completes somewhere close to half of the 11th and 12th meeting points, the faster person would first go and be exactly diametrically opposite him, and by the time the slower person completes and goes to the 12th meeting point, the faster person finishes another half a track and meets him at the 12th meeting point. So again, between 11th and 12th meeting points, they meet for the 12th time. So the total number of times they are diametrically opposite each other before they meet the third time at the starting point, which is actually the 12th overall meeting point, is 12. So the answer in this case is 12. But remember one thing that I was saying, I was casually mentioning it, that between the starting and the first time, when I was saying that they are diametrically opposite each other, the first guy will not be at half, he'll be slightly away from half. So, but between the 0th and the first time, they will be diametrically opposite exactly once. Where exactly he will be, you will have to use your calculations to calculate, as in how much distance has the slower person covered and how much distance has the faster person covered. But what you can say for sure is that the slower person will not cover exactly half the distance between 0 and 1, that is for sure. Similarly, you know for sure that they will be diametrically opposite exactly once between each of the individual respective meeting points. That is, between 0 and 1 they will be diametrically opposite once, between 1 and 2 they will be diametrically opposite once, between 2 and 3 they will be diametrically opposite once, and so on. So the total number of times they will be diametrically opposite is 12. What are these exact 12 points when they are diametrically opposite each other? You will have to actually calculate. You can't just say that okay, they will be opposite between 0 and 1 at exactly 0.5. Those things won't work out. You will have to calculate, but you know that they are diametrically opposite exactly once. So the answer in this case is 12. In this question, it has been given that there is a rectangle ABCD, P bisects AD, and E is a point on CP. So let us first draw the rectangle and keep drawing as and when we reach. So this is the rectangle ABCD. So say this is A, B, C and D. P is a point which bisects AD, so this is P. Now E is a point on CP, so let us first draw CP. So say this is CP. E is a point on CP on this line such that D is perpendicular to CP. So let us first draw a perpendicular, and so this is point E. Now if the length of CP, so it is given that CP is equal to 50 centimeters, and it is also given that DE is equal to 15 centimeters, DE. Is equal to 15 centimeters. We are required to find out the maximum possible ratio of AD by CD. So let the breadth of the rectangle be 2B. So this is B and this is B, and let the length of the rectangle be L. So say CD is equal to L. We are required to find out the maximum possible value of 2B by L. This is what we need to find out. 2B is equal to AD and CD is equal to L. To start off, let us assume, because this is a rectangle and in which we are drawing a perpendicular, there is a good scope that this will involve similar triangles. So let us assume that this angle is equal to theta. So this is 90 degrees each. So this angle is equal to 90 minus theta. So this angle is equal to theta, and this angle is equal to 90 minus theta. Now let us try to find out the values of B and L if we can, or we will try to find out some sort of a relationship between them using the similarity that we have just discussed. Now sin theta, if you are looking at DE, so in triangle DEP, sin theta, that is DEP, we look at cos theta, because we know the value of B and we know DE is equal to 15. So cos theta is equal to 15 by B. Here in this triangle, B is the hypotenuse. This side is the hypotenuse. Now similarly, if you are looking at the bigger triangle, that is triangle DCP. So in triangle DCP, sine theta is equal to, the side opposite theta is B and the hypotenuse is CP, which is equal to 50. So this is equal to 50. We can use these two equations to find the value of B, because we know that sine square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. Now once we find the value of B, we will find the value of L and then we will proceed further. Sine square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. Therefore, this square plus this square will equal 1. So 225 by B square plus B square by 2500, this is 50 square, is equal to 1. Or if we just cross multiply, B to the power 4 minus 2500 B square, this is just multiplying the denominator, taking it to the other side and bringing it back, plus 2500 into 225 is equal to 0. This equation is just a simplification of this equation. Now if you solve this, you will get that this is a simple quadratic equation in B square, and B square will be equal to 2250 or 250. So B square has two possible values. So the value of B will be square root of 2250 or square root of 250. That is, it will be either 2250 is 15 root 10 or 250 is 5 root 10. Remember that 5 square is equal to 25 and 15 square is equal to 225. Now once we found out the two values of B, we can find out similar values of L. So if we are looking at it in this triangle, that is in triangle DEC, if you are looking at this is theta and L is the hypotenuse, therefore sine theta is equal to 15 by L. But we know that sine theta is also equal to B by 50. So this is equal to B by 50, or L is equal to 15 into 50, that is 750 by B. So we have two values of B and we know the value of L in terms of B. So for each of the values, we will calculate the similar value of L. So if B is equal to 15 root 10, if B is equal to 15 root 10, L will be 750 by 15 root 10, which is equal to 50 by root 10, which is equal to 5 root 10. Similarly, if B is equal to 5 root 10, this is the second equation, L will equal 750 by 5 root 10, which is 150 by root 10, which is 15 root 10. Now what we are required to find out is the maximum value of 2B by L. So in these two equations, 2B by L is maximized in the first one because B is larger and L is smaller. So B by L in this case will be 3 and 2B by L will be 6. Therefore, the maximum possible value of the ratio of AD by CD is 6. In this question, we are told that there is a football league in which there are n teams and all the teams play each other twice. And for a win, the winner gets 3 points, and if it is a draw, both the teams get 1 point each. Now, after the league has been completed, the total points earned by all the teams have been counted, and this is equal to 217. Now we are required to find out how many of the games were drawn. So let us go step by step. Because there are n teams, if all of them play each other once, the total number of matches will be nc2, which is equal to n into n minus 1 by 2. This is if there are n teams in a league and all of them play each other exactly once. But we are told that each of them play each other twice. So the total number of games played in this particular league will be nc2 into 2, that is n into n minus 1 by 2 into 2, or n into n minus 1. So the total number of games played in this league is n into n minus 1. Now in this, let us assume that there are A games which were won by one team, and that is they have a result, and there are n into n minus 1 minus A. This is the number of games which are drawn. Just for ease, let us assume that n into n minus 1 is a number k. This is just for calculations. So we are assuming that there are A games which had a result where one team won 3 points, and there are k minus A games which were drawn. So both the teams got 1 point each. Now the total points in this particular scenario in terms of A and K will equal 3 into A, because whenever a game has been won, the winner gets 3 points and the loser gets 0, plus 2 into K minus A. This is because in K minus A games, both the teams get 1 point each. So this is equal to 3A plus 2K minus 2A, or this will equal 2K plus A. Now 2K plus A is the total points won by all the teams in the league. This we are told is equal to 217. Now what we are trying to do is we are trying to get a sense of the largest and the smallest value for K. Once we know the largest and the smallest values for K, because K is of the form n into n minus 1, we will kind of figure out the number of teams that were there in the league. From there we can calculate the value of A and the value of the number of games which were drawn. Anyway, in this case we know that 2K plus A is equal to 217. Now the number of games which were won, which had a result, will always be less than the total number of games played. So A is always less than or equal to K. Similarly, A is a whole number. It can't be negative. The least possible value of A is 0. So we know that A is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to K. So from this equation, because 2K plus A is equal to 217, 217 is definitely greater than or equal to 2K, because 217 is equal to 2K plus A. And this is again less than or equal to 2K plus K. Notice that instead of A we have replaced it with K, or this is equal to 3K. So 3K is greater than or equal to 217 and 2K is less than or equal to 217. So what this means is K is less than or equal to 217 by 2 is 108.5 and K is greater than or equal to 217 by 3. 217 by 3 is 72.33. Now we know this, but there is another thing that we have to look into. We know that K is not any natural number. K is a number of the form n into n minus 1. So there are very few numbers of the form n into n minus 1 which lie between 108.5 and 72.33. For example, if n is equal to 1, the value of K will be n into n minus 1, that is equal to 0. If n is equal to 2, the value of K will be 2 into 2 minus 1, that will equal 2. Similarly, if the value of n is equal to 8, the value of K will be 8 into 7, that is 56. If n is equal to 9, the value of K will be 9 into 8, that is 72. If n is 10, the value of K will be 10 into 9, that is 90. And if n is 11, the value of K will be 11 into 10, that is 110. So notice that K can't take any number. K cannot be any natural number. K has to be one amongst any of these numbers. Now if you notice it, there is only 90 which lies between 108.5 and 72.33. Therefore the value of K will equal 90. And if K is equal to 90, because 2K plus A is equal to 217, the value of A will be 217 minus 2 into 90. This is 2 into 90 is 180, so the value of A is equal to 37. Now what are we required to find out? We are required to find out how many games were drawn. Now the number of games which were won by a particular team is A, and the number of games which are drawn is K minus A. So in this case the required answer is 90 minus 37, which is equal to 53. That is the answer. In this question we are given two squares. There is an outer square, the side of the square is 2 centimeters, and there is an inner square, the side of the inner square is 1 centimeter. So let us first draw both the squares. So this is, say, the outer square, and say this is the inner square. The outer square's length is, the side length is 2 centimeters. This is 2 centimeters, and the inner square's length, side length is 1 centimeter. Now we are also given two there are 4 arcs of circles such that they intersect at 4 different places. Suppose that these are the arc of the circles. Now we are told that the area of one part is y, this is y, and the area of another part is x, as given in the diagram. Now we are required to find out what is the value of y minus x. Now from the looks of it, it looks to be a very complicated question where we will have to figure out the lengths of each of the side arcs and then try to find out the value of y and also find out the value of x and then find out what is the value of y minus x. But there is a simple way to actually solve it. Let us first write down the points so that we can understand what exactly is being explained. Suppose the sides of the larger square are a, b, c and d and the vertices of the inner square are e, f, g and h. Now again I am giving some names to the middle one. Say this is P, Q, R, S, T, U, V and W, and let us assume that the outer ones are like say small a, small b, small c and small d. Now if you are looking only at the inner square and if you remove y from it, what we are going to get, the area is, suppose this is the inner square. Let me erase it so that we can explain it better. Suppose this is the inner square. This is the square whose side is 1 centimeter. Now we are only looking at if you are removing 4 y's from it, that is if you are removing this y and this y and this y and this y, we can easily calculate the area of the remaining part. The area of the remaining portion is area of the smaller square minus 4y. As the side of the smaller square is 1 centimeter, the area of this square minus the edges is 1 minus 4y. Now to this let us add the 4x. That is, we are adding these x. Now if you are looking only at this portion, what we are looking at is basically something of this sort. We are looking at an area which is basically adding 4 chords. So the area of this portion is 1 minus 4y plus 4x. 1 is the area of the smaller square, of which we have removed the edges of the smaller square and we have added 4x. Now 1 minus 4y plus 4x can be easily found out. The area, if you just ignore y's and x's, of what exactly is remaining is, if from the larger square you are removing 4 parts of the circle, then whatever is remaining is basically the same shape. Now we can easily calculate the area of the outer square. The area of the outer square is, because the side of the square is 2 centimeters, the area of the outer square is 2 square, that is 4. From this you will have to remove 4 quarter circles. If you remove 4 quarter circles, you are going to get the same shape. But we know that the area of that shape is 1 minus 4y plus 4x. Now if you are removing 4 of the outer quarter squares, you know that the radius of the quarter square is half the length of the larger square. Half the length of the larger square is 2 by 2, that is 1 centimeter. Therefore the area of 4 of these quarter squares will be 4 into pi r square by 4, because the area of each of this quarter square will be pi r square by 4. As there are 4 such quarter squares, the whole area will be pi r square. We know that the value of the radius is 1 centimeter. Therefore the area that is removed from the larger square is pi. So the area that is left behind is 4 minus pi. But we already know that this is equal to 1 minus 4y plus 4x. Now you can simplify this as 4y minus 4x will be pi minus 3, or y minus x, which we are actually supposed to find out, is pi minus 3 by 4. So the answer is pi minus 3 whole divided by 4. In this question we are given two functions, a of x and b of x, and we are given an expression which shows the relationship between the two. We are also given that a of 4 is equal to 24 and we are required to find the value of a of minus 4. Let us first try to simplify the expression that was given to see if we can find a easier relationship between the two, a of x and b of x. So if we are simplifying the expression that is given, it means 4a of a square of x is equal to, if you take these terms to the right, it becomes b square of x plus b square of minus x plus 2 into b of x into b of minus x. Now this is clearly of the term a square plus b square plus 2ab. So this actually equals b of x plus b of minus x whole square. Now, so this is also of the term x square. So we can, if we take the square root, we know that 2a of x is equal to plus or minus b of x plus b of minus x. Now you know the value of a of 4. So a of 4 is equal to plus or minus b of 4 plus b of minus 4 by 2. Now if you just interchange, here we are putting x is equal to 4. If we put x is equal to minus 4, we get that a of minus 4 is equal to plus or minus 1 by 2 into b of minus 4 plus b of 4. We know that a of 4 is equal to 24. And we know the value of this from this expression. The value of b of 4 plus b of minus 4 is equal to 48. So a of minus 4 is half into plus or minus half into 48, which is equal to plus or minus 24. Now this is where our information stops. We know that a of minus 4 is equal to plus or minus of 24. This is actually equal to plus or minus of a of 4. But we don't know whether it is 24 or minus 24. If any additional information is given, for example, if it has been given that all a of x is non-negative or anything of those lines, we can find the value of a of minus 4. Otherwise we can't. So the correct answer here is cannot be determined. It can be either minus 24 or plus 24. In this question we are given a rectangle ABCD. A diagonal AC is drawn for the rectangle and a perpendicular is BA is drawn from the vertex B to the diagonal AC. Another perpendicular is drawn from the point E to AB, which is F, and we are given the lengths of the sides AB as 8 centimeters. This is 8, and the length of the side BC as 6 centimeters, and we are required to find the length of BF. We should find what is this. Now, because these are rectangles and a lot of perpendiculars are drawn, let us assume that the value of this angle, the angle CAB, is equal to theta. The reason we are assuming this is equal to theta is because it looks like we can find out the values of all the other angles in the rectangle and find sine theta and cos theta and try to see if we can simplify the value of BF into one of these numbers. So if this is theta, this angle will be 90 minus theta, and this angle EBC will become theta. Now because this is theta, the value of EBF will be 90 minus theta, and the value of FEB, this will become theta. We know these things because of the perpendiculars. We also know that because the two sides of the rectangle are 8 and 6, we know that the length of the diagonal is equal to square root of 6 square plus 8 square, which is equal to 10. Now we also know that sine theta, where we define theta as the value of CAB, is equal to 6 by 10, which is equal to 3 by 5. Similarly, cos theta is equal to 8 by 10, which is equal to 4 by 5. Now the value of BE in the triangle BAC, the value of BE will be equal to cos theta into 6, because 6 is the hypotenuse of the triangle and B is the side which is lying adjacent, which becomes 6 into 4 by 5, which is equal to 4.8. Now in triangle BFE, BF is equal to BE into sin theta. This becomes 4.8 into 3 by 5, which is equal to 4.8 into 0.6, this equals 2.88 centimeters. In this question, we have just found out the angles of all the triangles. Because of perpendiculars, we can calculate that all the triangles have similar angles, either theta or minus theta, and a right angle. So once we get it, we are transforming the sides into values of sin theta or cos theta and finding the required value. It is given that n is a positive number, positive integer, and n plus 1 is a factor of n factorial. It is also given that n lies between 1 and 100, and we are asked to find out what is the total number of values that n can take. So n varies from 1 to 100, and n plus 1 varies from 2 to 101. Now n plus 1 is a factor of n factorial. Now, to count the number of values of n that is possible, let us try to find out the number of values of n for which this is not possible, and then subtract it from the total number of values. Total number of values of n that is possible is clearly 100. Now let us try to find out the number of values of n for which n plus 1 is not a factor of n factorial. Now whenever n plus 1 is a prime, it is not a factor of n factorial. There is actually a theorem for this called Wilson's theorem. We will just explain it in brief. This is a theorem on prime numbers. So if p is a prime number, then p minus 1 factorial plus 1 is a multiple of p. So for example, 4 factorial plus 1 is a multiple of 5. In this case, this is equal to 25. Similarly, 6 factorial plus 1 is a multiple of 7. In this case, this will be 721, which is equal to 103 into 7. Similarly, 10 factorial plus 1 will be a multiple of 11. So whenever you have a prime p minus 1 factorial plus 1 is a multiple of that prime. We can actually apply it here because n plus 1 is a prime number. N plus 1 divides n factorial plus 1. Therefore, n plus 1 will not divide n factorial. This is also quite intuitive. A prime number has no factors less than it. So this is true. So the number of primes which are between 2 and 101, number of primes numbers in the given set is 26. One common thing that we should remember is the number of prime numbers which are less than 100 is 25, and because 101 is also a prime number, this becomes 26. So we know that there are 26 numbers which are definitely in which this doesn't work, where n plus 1 is a factor of n factorial. Let us try to see if there are any other numbers where n plus 1 is not a factor of n factorial. We can observe that amongst the small numbers, 4 is not a multiple of 3 factorial, which is equal to 6. So other than this 26 prime numbers and 4, every other number solves this this condition. So the total number of ways in which the answer is 100, which is the total number of numbers in the set, minus 26 all the prime numbers, minus 1 where for the small number of 3 this doesn't work. This is 73. So the answer in this case is 73, for which if you just know Wilson's theorem, or if you have an intuitive feel of prime numbers, you will be able to answer these kind of questions. In this question, we are asked to find out for how many integral values of k does the quadratic equation y is equal to modulus of x square plus kx plus 7 and the line y is equal to 2 intersect at exactly 3 points. So let us first try to understand how the graphs, both these graphs look like. The graph of the line y is equal to 2 is very simple. You have the x-axis and the y-axis, and y is equal to 2 will be a line parallel to the x-axis at a distance of 2 units. This is the line y is equal to 2. Now the graph of y square is equal to modulus of x square plus kx plus 7. In order to draw that, we'll first draw the graph of y is equal to x square plus kx plus 7 without the modulus. It will look something like this. So it can either be always above the y axis, always above the x axis, so it can be something like this, in which case the modulus will also be the same. It can sometimes touch the x axis, in which case the modulus will also again remain the same, or the third case where it goes below the x axis. In this case, the modulus will be exactly whatever is below the x axis will be replaced by its mirror image. So the value of the curve y is equal to modulus of x square plus kx plus 7 will look something like, till it touches the x axis it will be the same as the earlier graph, but once it touches the x axis it will be the mirror image. So it will go up and it will come down, and once it touches x axis for the second time, again it will continue as usual as the earlier graph. Now these are the three cases possible for y is equal to modulus of x square plus kx plus 7. The three possibilities are as given here. If the first graph, that is y square is equal to kx plus 7, if it is always above the x axis, the modulus will also be always above the x axis. It will be exactly same as the earlier graph. The second case is when x square plus kx plus 7 just touches the x axis. Even in this case, the modulus will be exactly the same as this curve, because the curve is never going below the x axis. In the third case, when x square plus kx plus 7 goes below the x axis, then the modulus will look something like the one on the right. So till it touches the x axis it will be the same, then it will be the mirror image, and till it again touches the x axis, and from then on again it will follow the earlier graph. Now if you superimpose y is equal to 2 on this graph, it will be something like this. Now you should notice that the first one will touch y is equal to 2 only in two places. It will be something like this. There will be only 2 points of contact. Similarly, in the second case where y is equal to x square plus kx plus 7 just touches the x axis, something like this, even over here it touches y is equal to 2 only in two places. The only possibility for it to touch the curve in either 3 or more places will be in the third case, where y is equal to kx plus 7 goes below the x axis. And because it is touching it exactly in 3 cases, what this would imply is that when it touches the x axis and goes up and just brushes past the line y is equal to 2, and then it continues to go up. So only in this case will it intersect y is equal to 2 in exactly 3 places. So to clear the board and explain again, what we know that in the curve y is equal to kx plus 7, modulus will look something like this. It will first come touch the x axis, then there will be a mirror image, again come and touch the x axis and go up, and y is equal to 2 will be just about brushing past the curve when it reaches its top. Now this is what has been given to us, and using this we need to calculate the value of k is equal to, what is the value of k. Here we know that the height is 2, because this line is y is equal to 2 units. Or if you want to just remove the modulus and draw the normal curve, the curve will be something like this. This is y square, y is equal to x square plus kx plus 7, and this line will be the mirror image of y is equal to 2. So this line will be y is equal to minus 2. So the minimum value of y is equal to kx plus 7 is minus 2, and using that we need to find out the value of k. Now if you want to find out the minimum value of any function y is equal to, especially a quadratic function, there are many ways to do it. One of the ways that I suggest is, if you know calculus, you can easily differentiate and find it. If you don't know calculus, you can just finish the square. You can complete the square, and whatever term is left beside the square will be the minimum value. For example, in this case, kx can be used to complete the square as x plus k by 2 whole square plus 7 minus k by 2 whole square. If you simplify this, you will easily understand that this is actually equal to x square plus kx plus 7, because k by 2 whole square and k by 2 whole square get cancelled. Now The minimum value, because the square can never be negative, the minimum value of this function is 7 minus k by 2 whole square. So we are told that 7 minus k by 2 whole square is equal to minus 2. This is the minimum value of the function y is equal to x square plus kx plus 7, or 7 plus 2, that is 9, is equal to k by 2 whole square, or k square is equal to 36, or k is equal to plus or minus 6. So the number of integral values of k which satisfy this condition is 2. They are 6 and minus 6. Just to reiterate, we have first understood that x square plus kx plus 7 has to go below the x-axis and it has to come up in the modulus form. Second thing, the height at which it comes up has to be equal to 2, because only in that case will it intersect the line y is equal to 2 in two places. If the mirror image is longer, that is if the minimum value is higher than 2, then it will intersect the line y is equal to 2 in 4 places. That is not possible. If the height of the mirror image is less than 2, it will be something like this, and y is equal to 2 will go above it. So again this will intersect the curve only in 2 places. If you want it to intersect in exactly 3 places, the height of this curve, the height of this parabola, has to be exactly equal to 2. Using that, we calculated that the value of k has to be either plus or minus 6, in which case the number of values of k which satisfy this condition is 2. In this question, we are given a function f of x. We are told that this is the max of x square plus 3x minus 10, which is a quadratic equation, and minus x square minus 10x minus 16, which is another quadratic equation, wherever x is real. And we are required to find out the least value of f of x. So whenever you are given this kind of a question where you are given max of a few functions and you are required to find out when the function will achieve its minimum point, it is important for you to get an understanding of how each of these functions behave. So in this case, because both of them are quadratic equations, let us try to draw their rough graphs. The graphs will not be to scale, but you will get an idea of how the graph actually looks. So every quadratic equation is a parabola. A parabola is basically a U-shaped curve. It will be either U pointing upwards like this, which will happen if the coefficient of x square is positive, like in this case. Here the coefficient of x square is 1, which is positive, so it will be an upward sloping parabola. In case where the coefficient of x square is negative, like in the second function, it will be a negative parabola. It will be a downward facing parabola. So this is how every quadratic equation looks like. It will be a parabola, either a upward facing parabola or a downward facing parabola. The second thing that you will have to notice is that in a parabola, the minimum point, the bottom is achieved whenever, if you are looking at a parabola whose equation is ax square plus bx plus c, the minimum point of x will occur when at minus b by 2a. That will help you draw the parabola better. So you know that this point, this x is equal to minus b by 2a. Same is the case even if it is a negative downward facing parabola. Even in this case, the x value will be minus b by 2a. For example, in case of the first parabola, which is x square plus 3x minus 10, the minimum point will occur at minus 3 by 2a. In this case, a, which is the coefficient of x square, is 1, and b, which is the coefficient of x, is 3. So the minimum point will occur at minus 3 by 2. In the case of the second one, which is a negative downward sloping parabola, which is minus x square minus 10x minus 16, the value of b is minus 10 and the value of a is minus 1. So the minimum point will occur at minus b by 2a. So in this case, it will be minus of minus 10 by minus 2. So if you simplify it, it will be minus 5. So now that you know it, let us try to draw the graphs in a rough manner, but at least we will get an understanding of what we have to find out. So let us first draw the first graph, which is of x square plus 3x minus 10. It will be a parabola and the minimum point is at minus 3 by 2. So it will be something like this. This is minus 3 by 2. This is not to scale, but this is a rough idea. Now let us draw the second graph, which is minus x square minus 10x minus 16. This will reach its peak at minus 5 because this is a downward sloping parabola. Instead of minimum, it is going to have a maximum point. that will occur at x is equal to minus 5. So it looks something like this. Now I don't know exactly how it looks, but it will be something like this. There might be some small errors, but the skeleton of how the graph will look will be correct. So this is when x is equal to minus 5. Now if you're looking at the graph, f of x is max of both of these quadratic equations. The simplified graph, that is when you're combining both the graphs, you will only look at the graph which is at the higher point. So before they meet for the first time, we can even figure out the points at which they meet for the first time. This is x1, and here they meet for the second time. This is x2. We'll find it out in the coming time, but it will be the upward sloping parabola till x1 where they meet for the first time. Then downward sloping parabola, it will peak at x is equal to minus 5. Then it will keep coming down. It will keep coming down until the point x2 comes where both the curves meet again for the second time. So this will be at x2, and once they meet for the second time, the curve will again start going up because this is the maximum. So the way the maximum function works is, initially it will be the downward sloping parabola. It will be the parabola with the positive coefficient, and after they meet for the first time, it will be the parabola with the negative coefficient. This will be higher. It will continue like this, the maximum function, until they meet again for the second time, when the negative sloping, the negative coefficient, the parabola with the negative coefficient and the parabola with the positive coefficient again intersect, and from then on till infinity, the parabola with the positive coefficient will be higher than the parabola with the negative coefficient. So the maximum function of both of these quadratic equations will be something like this. This is f of x. Now we are required to find out the least value of f of x. The least value of f of x is occurring at the point x2. This is where the function is reaching its minimum point. So now let us try to calculate x1 and x2, which are basically the 2 points at which both the functions meet. That is quite simple. We'll have to just equate both the quadratic equations. That is, x square plus 3x minus 10 will equal minus x square minus 10x minus 16. Now you're going to get a combined quadratic equation which will have two roots. They will be x1 and x2. If you simplify this, this will be 2x square plus 13x plus 6 is equal to 0. You can easily factorize it because the product of a and c, that is the product of the coefficient of x square and the constant term, is 2 into 6, that is 12. So you will have to split the coefficient of x, that is 13, into two terms whose product is 12. This is quite simple. So it will be 2x square plus, you will split 13x into 12x plus x, because the product of 12 and 1 is 12, plus 6 is equal to 0. You will take x common, so this will be 2x plus 12. You can take actually 2x common. So if this is 2x, then this will be x plus 6 plus 1 common, this will be x plus 6 is equal to 0, or x plus 6 into 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. This is the factorization of the combined quadratic equation. So the two roots, that is the points at which both the quadratic equations intersect, are x is equal to minus 6. This will happen if x plus 6 is equal to 0, or x is equal to minus half. This will happen if 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. So these are the 2 points, x1 and x2. Now all you need to do is just find out the value of f of x at x1 and the value of f of x when x is equal to minus half. When x is equal to minus 6, the value of f of x will be x square plus 3x minus 10. So that is, x square will be 36 plus 3x will be minus 18. So this will be 36 minus 18 minus 10. This will equal 18 minus 10, which is equal to 8. Note that at this point both the functions will have the same value. So if you just calculate the value of x square plus 3x minus 10, you can understand how much is f of x. Similarly, when x is equal to minus half, we'll again calculate f of x. This will be again x square, that is 1 by 4, plus 3x will be minus 3 by 2 minus 10. You can simplify this by taking the denominator as 4. This will be 1 minus 6 minus 40. This is equal to minus 45 by 4. So this point, the value of the y coordinate at which it is minimum is 45 by 4. Minus 45 by 4. The value of x2 is equal to minus half. the value of x1 is equal to minus 6, and the height, which is the value of the function f of x, is equal to 8. This we have found out. Now the answer for the question is, at what point f of x hits its minimum value? The minimum value of the function f of x is minus 45 by 4. This occurs when x is equal to minus 1 by 2. In this question it is given that David bought a few pencils and he decides to sell the pencils in packets of n pencils each, and he earns a profit of 20% while doing it. Now suppose he packed n-1 pencils per packet and sold them at the same price, then his profit would be 20% more than what he had earned earlier by selling the packets at n pencils per packet. Now what is the least number of pencils that David could have bought? So what has been given to us is that let the cost of buying the pencils, let us assume that he bought n pencils, and let the cost be equal to t. Now if he sold these pencils as small n, the number of packets he would have sold is n by small n. And let us assume that the price of each packet is a. So by selling n by small n packets at a each, he earned 1.2t. This is the profit that he earned. Now what we are told is that when he sold the packets having n-1 pencils per packet, the profit he would have earned is 20% more than what he had earned by selling n pencils per packet. So the key word over here is that the profit has increased by 20%. This amount or the sales price has not increased by 20%. So what is the new profit? The old profit is 0.2t. The new profit is 20% greater than this. So the new profit is 0.24t. Therefore the new selling price is 1.24t. And this is equal to n by small n minus 1, which is the number of packets he sold, and he sold them at the same price, that is into a. Now you can easily solve for small n. If you divide the first equation by the second equation, there are many unknowns, but most of them will get cancelled. For example, capital N, small a and t will get cancelled, and you will be left with n divided by n minus 1 is equal to 31 by 30, or 30n is equal to 31 small n minus 31, or n is equal to 31. Now we are required to find out what is the least number of pencils that David could have bought. Now we should notice that capital N is a multiple of both small n as well as small n minus 1. So capital N divides is a multiple of both 31 as well as 30. Now the smallest such number, which is both a multiple of both 31 and 30, is the LCM of 30 and 31, which is equal to 930. So the correct answer, that is the smallest number of pencils that David could have bought, is 930.
The secret to crack CAT is taking a lot of marks. We at Krakow give all the previous year's CAT, XAT and IFT papers in the actual exam format. Also, if you just Google Krakow free CAT mark, you can find 3 free CAT marks in the latest exam pattern. You can take them and get detailed analysis.
In this question it is given that there is a circle and the center of the circle is in the first quadrant. So if you draw the y-axis and the x-axis, this is the first quadrant, this is the second quadrant, this is the third quadrant, and this is the fourth quadrant. So the center of the circle is in the first quadrant and it touches the x-axis at x is equal to 5. Let us assume that this is x is equal to 5. So the circle will be something like this. Now because this is touching the x-axis at x is equal to 5, if you draw a line which is connecting the center of the circle and the point at which x-axis touches the circle, this will be perpendicular because this is a tangent, and because this is x is equal to 5, so this will be 5 comma 0. The center of the circle will be something like 5 comma y, where y is the radius of the circle. So the center of the circle is of the form 5 comma y. What should be the radius of the circle such that it touches another line which is 4x minus 3y is equal to 0. So suppose this is the line 4x minus 3y is equal to 0. Now we are told that the line 4x minus 3y is equal to 0 is also a tangent to the given circle. That is, again if you draw a line which is connecting, which is perpendicular to the line 4x minus 3y, that will be a tangent. How do you know that it will be a tangent? So whenever you are connecting the point to a line, and if you are drawing a circle, the way we can identify that a particular line is a tangent to a circle is if you connect the center of the circle O to that given line by drawing a perpendicular, and the distance of the length of the perpendicular should equal the radius of the circle. So what we'll do over here is from the point phi comma y, we'll calculate the distance. By distance we just mean the length of the perpendicular from this point to the line 4x minus 3y is equal to 0. Now once you get that length, we have to equate the length to equal the radius of the circle. Only in that case will the given line be a tangent. So we'll first calculate the length of the perpendicular, that is the perpendicular distance of the line from the point, and then equate it to the radius. The radius of the circle we already know is equal to y. And what is the length of the perpendicular? There is another formula, useful formula that you should remember. If there is a point x1 comma y1, and if you want to calculate the length of the perpendicular from this point to a line ax plus by plus c is equal to 0, you have to substitute ax1 plus by1 plus c, the modulus of it, that is the absolute value of it, divided by square root of a square plus b square, where a is the coefficient of x and b is the coefficient of y. We'll use the same formula over here. So to calculate the distance of the center to the line, and we are equating it to the radius is y. To calculate the distance, we'll just use this given formula, and this will equal modulus of 4 into x1. What is x1? x1 is 5 plus b, in this case b is minus 3. So minus 3 into y1. What is y1? We have assumed that that equals a variable y, and we want to calculate the value of y, plus c. There is no constant term in the given line. The line passes through origin, so it is 4x minus 3y is equal to 0. So the constant term c is 0, plus 0 divided by square root of a square plus b square. In this case a is equal to 4, so square root of 4 square plus b square. B square is minus 3, so square of b square is 3 square. Square root of 4 square plus 3 square is 5. So we can simplify the given equation as 5y is equal to modulus of 20 minus 3y. Now there are two cases. To remove the modulus, we will equate it to plus or minus of the left hand side. So case 1 is 20 minus 3y is equal to 5y, and the other case is 20 minus 3y is equal to minus 5y. Now you can easily calculate that this equals 8y is equal to 20, or y is equal to 20 by 8. This is equal to 5 by 2. In the second case, 20 is equal to minus 2y, or y is equal to minus 10. But we know that y cannot equal minus 10 because we are told that the center is in the first quadrant. So both the points, both the coordinates have to be greater than 0. That is 5 and y, both of them have to be greater than 0. So the case where y is equal to minus 10 is ruled out. So the only possible value for y is 5 by 2. And when y is 5 by 2, that is equal to the radius of the circle, which we have to calculate. So the correct answer is that the radius of the circle will equal 5 by 2. In this question, we are told that there are three people, Akram, Bikram and Chandan. They are taking part in a race. Akram can give Bikram a head start of 64 feet. So if the length of the track is say L, when Akram travels L, Bikram will finish at the same time by taking a head start of 64 feet. So Bikram would travel L minus 64. If you are assuming the speed of Akram to be A and the speed of Bikram to be B, A by B is L by L minus 64. Similarly, the head start that Chandan can give Bikram is 40 feet longer than the head start that he can give Akram. So if there is Chandan and Chandan covers L meters, if suppose he has given Akram a head start of small a, then Bikram can cover only L minus a by the time Chandan covers a. Then what is given is that Bikram can get 40 extra feet as head start. So this is L minus a minus 40. Again, if you are assuming the speed of Chandan to be c, we know that C by A is equal to L by L minus A, and C by B is equal to L by L minus A minus 40. Now we are also told that if one person is twice as fast as the other two, one of the other two persons, that is one of these three ratios is exactly equal to 2, and the length of the track in feet is an integer. We are also told that L is an integer. Then what is the length of the track in feet? So we are required to find out the value of L. When you first look at it, it looks like there are way too many variables. There is A, there is B, there is C, there is L, and there is A. So there are 5 variables and we have only 3 equations. So I don't think it is possible to actually calculate the value of L, but let us try to see if we can go ahead and try, because we are given some more information like L is an integer and that one of the ratios is 2. So we'll try to calculate, we'll try to simplify and see where it takes us. So one thing that we should do is, because we know C by A and C by B, we can easily calculate A by B, which is, if we are taking this as the first equation, this as the second equation, and this as the third equation, 3 by 2 is equal to A by B. So this implies that this is equal to L minus A by L minus A minus 40. But we already know that A by B is equal to L by L minus 64. So this is equal to L by L minus 64. Now if we cross multiply and try to cancel the common terms, we are going to get L square minus AL plus 64A minus 64L is equal to L square minus AL minus 40L. We have just cross multiplied this equation. Then you can cancel the common terms, which is L square and minus AL, and you are going to get that 24L is equal to 64A, or A is equal to 3 by 8L. So this is the first step that we have achieved, where we got a relationship between small a and L. So you can simplify and you can calculate the value of C by A, because it is given only in terms of L and A. Therefore C by A is equal to L by L minus A. So this is equal to 8 by 5. So we know the ratio of the speeds of C and A, and it is not equal to 2. So one of the other two terms is actually equal to 2. One of the other two ratios, either A by B or C by B. Now we can simplify A by B. If we assume that A by B is equal to 2, then L by L minus 64 is equal to 2, or L is equal to 2L minus 128, or L is equal to 128. This is one equation that is possible, in which case A will equal 3 by 8 into L. So that will be 3 by 8 into 128. This is 48. This is one possible solution. The other possible solution is if you are assuming that C by B is equal to 2, in which case L by L minus A is 5 by 8L minus 40 is equal to 2, in which case L is equal to 10L by 8 minus 80. Or this will simplify as L is equal to 320 and A will equal 3 by 8 into L, which is 120. So it can be either one of the two. L can be either 128 or 320. Both of them are given as one of the options. Option A is 128, option C is 320. So the correct answer is more than one of the above. So we don't know exactly the value of L. It can be either 128 or it can be 320. So the correct answer in this case is option D. In this question, it is given that there is a cyclist and a bus. They start from two cities P and Q at the same time, and they keep going towards each other. Every day they travel at the same speed and they meet at a dhaba. They cross each other at a dhaba. Let us assume that this is P and this is Q. The cyclist is going from this side and the bus is coming from this side. Every day they cross each other at a dhaba which is at some point in the middle, not exactly midpoint. But one day the cyclist starts 42 minutes later, because of which instead of meeting at the dhaba, they meet 5 kilometers away. So again this is P and this is Q. The cyclist again starts, but this time he starts 42 minutes later. So instead of meeting here at the dhaba, they meet 5 kilometers ahead, say E. And this distance is 5 kilometers. The bus starts at its usual time. And now we are asked to find out, we are given that the speed of the cyclist is 10 kilometers per hour. Now, what is the speed of the bus? This is what we are required to find out. There are many ways to do it, but if you understand symmetry and if you understand it intuitively, the answer can be gotten quite easily. So the only difference between the first scenario and the second scenario is that the cyclist has started 42 minutes later. The bus has started at the same time, and for the bus there is no real difference. So by the time the bus comes to the dhaba on the second day, the bus driver would have been expecting to see the cycle driver, but the cycle driver is not there. Now, how far away is the cycle driver? The cycle started 42 minutes later. So the distance that the cyclist had to cover, which he didn't, is 42 by 60 hours into the speed of the cyclist, that is 10. If you simplify this, this is 7 kilometers. So on the second day, when the bus is at the dhaba, the cyclist is at a point F, which is 7 kilometers away from the dhaba. Now the bus driver doesn't know it, and he will continue to come towards the point P, and the cyclist will continue to go from F towards the point Q, and finally they meet at a point E. So if you are ignoring everything, and if you are only considering the movement of the bus from the dhaba and the movement of the cyclist from F, both of them have started at the same point at the same time, and by the time the cyclist was able to cover the distance F to E, the bus was able to cover the distance D to E. Now the cyclist has covered 2 kilometers, because D to F is 7 kilometers and D to is 5 kilometers, F is 2 kilometers, while D is 5 kilometers. So in the same time that the cyclist covered 2 kilometers, the bus driver or the bus covered 5 kilometers. Therefore, the ratio of their speeds is 2:5. We already know that the speed of the cyclist is 10 kilometers per hour. Therefore, the speed of the bus is 10 into 5 by 2. This is equal to 25 kilometers per hour. So the answer is 25.